Have you ever felt like you were meant for more, but couldn't quite reach it? What if I told you the obstacle in your path wasn't the problem, but the answer? That your pain is your path. It's not just a quote from a book. It's a code. A way of life. One the Stoics lived by. Imagine living each day with clarity. Not perfection. Not control. Just clarity. The ancient Stoics didn't have YouTube. They didn't have smartphones. But they did have chaos, uncertainty, loss. And yet, through it all, they thrived. Not because life was easy, but because they knew how to live through difficulty with strength. Today, we're uncovering 12 timeless Stoic secrets that will help you do your best, be your best, and live your best even when life is at its worst. Let's begin. Obsess over progress, not perfection. Have you ever felt like you're never enough? No matter how hard you try, there's always one more thing to fix, one more flaw to erase, one more goal to chase. It's exhausting, isn't it? We live in a world obsessed with perfection. Perfect bodies. Perfect careers. Perfect lives on Instagram feeds. But the Stoics, they didn't care about perfection. Because they knew perfection is an illusion. And chasing it? It's a trap. Marcus Aurelius never wrote, "Be perfect." He wrote, "Be better." That's it. Just be better. And that's what this is about. Progress. Not perfection. The Stoics had a word for this. Prokopton. It means someone who's on the path. Not someone who's arrived. Not someone who's flawless. Just someone who's walking forward. One step at a time. One virtue at a time. One choice at a time. See, they understood that you can fail today and still be a good person tomorrow. You can make a mistake and still move forward. You can fall and still rise again. Because progress isn't about doing everything right. It's about doing the next thing right. We've been taught to fear falling behind. But what if the only person you're behind is who you were yesterday? That changes everything. When you stop chasing perfect, and start chasing progress, you begin to live. You begin to grow gently, persistently, like a tree reaching towards sunlight, not to impress anyone, but because it's in its nature to grow. And maybe that's what you've forgotten. That you're allowed to evolve. To take your time. To mess up and learn. To be a work in progress and still be worthy of love, of respect, of purpose. Seneca once said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." There's no finish line. No final version of you. Only layers unfolding. Only lessons deepening. So when you feel discouraged, when you think you've failed, when you wonder if you're good enough, don't ask, "Am I perfect yet?" Ask, "Am I better than I was yesterday?" And if the answer is yes, even just a little, you're on the path. You're doing the work. You're living as a Stoic. Because in the end, perfection isn't what defines the Stoic. Progress does. Every choice you make to reflect, to realign, to recommit, that is Stoicism in action. So let go of the need to arrive. And fall in love with the journey of becoming. Remember, you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You don't need to have it all together to move forward. You just need the courage to take the next step and the wisdom to keep going. And that is more than enough. Ask yourself, why not? Have you ever felt that quiet hesitation, just before you do something that matters? That voice in your head that whispers, "You're not ready. What if you fail? What will people think?" It's always there, that tiny resistance. It creeps in right when you're about to take the leap. And most of the time, you listen to it. You back down. You delay. You talk yourself out of it. But here's a question the Stoics would ask, one that changes everything: why not? Not, "Can I do this?" Not, "What if I'm not good enough?" But simply, Why not try? When you stop to really ask that, you realize how many of your limits aren't real. They're inherited, imagined, built on fear, not truth. Seneca once wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult." The Stoics didn't believe in waiting for perfect conditions. They believed in taking bold, reasoned action rooted in values, not emotion. So the next time you're hesitating when you're standing at the edge of something new, something challenging, something uncertain, don't ask, "Am I ready?" Ask, "Why not?" Why not write that book? Why not start that business? Why not reach out, speak up, stand tall? What's really stopping you? Fear of judgment? Fear of failure? Fear of making a fool of yourself? Good. Because that's exactly where growth lives. Stoicism isn't about avoiding fear. It's about walking through it. Deliberately. With clarity and courage. When Marcus Aurelius felt overwhelmed by duty, he reminded himself, if it is humanly possible, you can do it too. Think about that. If it's been done by someone flawed, fragile, human, then it's within your reach too. This isn't about recklessness. It's not about leaping without looking. It's about choosing action when your values demand it. It's about refusing to shrink when life asks you to expand. So here's the challenge: every time you hesitate, every time you feel that old fear creeping in, pause. Breathe. And whisper to yourself, why not? Why not grow? Why not try? Why not fail and get up stronger? This simple question has power. It strips away excuses. It reveals the truth. And the truth is this: you're far more capable than you believe. You just need to believe it long enough to act on it. So today, don't wait for permission. Don't wait for certainty. Don't wait for the fear to vanish. Just ask, why not? And then take the step. Because you don't need to be fearless to move forward. You just need to stop letting fear decide for you. Let your reason lead. Let your virtue guide. Let your courage speak. And when the doubts rise, as they always will, answer them not with fear, but with a quiet, steady fire that says, why not me? Why not now? And that's when your journey truly begins. Give it all you've got. There's a moment in every day when you decide, am I going to show up fully? Or just go through the motions? Most people, they drift. They check the boxes. They survive the day. But they never engage with life, not really. They do just enough to get by. Just enough to be comfortable. Just enough to avoid discomfort. But the Stoics lived differently. They didn't believe in half effort. They believed in total presence. In full commitment. In giving it everything you've got. Not because someone's watching. Not for applause. But because it's the right way to live. Because how you do something, even the smallest thing, reflects who you are. Marcus Aurelius said, do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life. Think about that. If today was your last chance to be a parent, a friend, a builder, a writer, a human being, how would you do it? Would you give 50%? Would you scroll through your day? Would you hide from your own potential? Or would you pour your soul into it? That's the Stoic way. That's what it means to live intentionally. To approach life as something sacred, something urgent, something worth doing well. And not just when it's easy. Especially when it's hard. Because giving it all you've got doesn't mean things will always work out. You may still fail. You may still fall. You may still get hurt. But the point isn't perfection. The point is effort. The point is integrity. To look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and say, I showed up. I gave my best. I didn't hold back. That's success. That's peace. You won't find that peace in winning every time. You'll find it in knowing you didn't quit on yourself. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. We waste it by waiting, by hesitating, by withholding our full selves because we're afraid of failing, afraid of being seen, afraid of not being good enough." But what if you stopped waiting? What if you stepped in fully, fiercely, now? What would happen if you actually tried? If you worked on that dream like it mattered, because it does. If you spoke to your loved ones like today could be the last time, because it could. If you gave this day everything you had, what would change? The Stoics didn't wait for motivation. They showed up out of discipline, out of duty to themselves. You owe that to yourself too. So don't hold back. Don't coast. Don't sleepwalk through a life that's asking you to be awake. Wake up. Rise. Give it all you've got. Because that's what it means to be fully alive. And if you fall short, if you mess up, good. That means you tried. That means you cared. That means you're human and you're on the path. And there is nothing more noble than a human being who decides to give this life everything they've got. Stay on your path. Have you ever felt lost? Like you're drifting, caught in the noise of the world, pulled in 100 different directions but none of them truly yours? It's easy to lose your way in a world like this. Everywhere you turn, someone's telling you what success should look like, what goals you should chase, what kind of person you should be. And if you're not careful, you start living someone else's life. You start walking someone else's path. But the Stoics, they warned us of this. They knew that without a compass, you don't just wander. You waste. You waste your time, your energy, your life chasing things that were never meant for you. So what's the Stoic way? Stay on your path. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Translation: you choose what matters. You decide what you pursue. And once you've chosen, commit to it. Because when you stay on your path, your true path, something incredible happens. Clarity replaces confusion. Peace replaces pressure. And life begins to feel aligned even when it's hard. But make no mistake, staying on your path isn't easy. There will be distractions, comparison, temptation, doubt. There will be moments when someone else's life looks shinier. When someone else's approval feels more important than your own integrity. That's when you have to go inward. To ask, does this align with who I want to become? Because that's the Stoic test. Not, is this popular? Not, will this make me look good? But, is this true to my values? Is this worthy of my time and life? Staying on your path requires strength. Not loud, aggressive strength. But quiet, enduring strength. The kind that lets you say no when everything around you screams yes. The kind that keeps you grounded when the world tries to sweep you away. And here's something most people forget: your path doesn't have to look impressive to others. It just has to be meaningful to you. Seneca reminded us, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. For he is not permitted to prove himself." So when your path gets steep, when the road is lonely, when your progress feels invisible, don't give up. That's not the moment to quit. That's the moment to prove yourself. Not to them. To you. Stay the course. Not because it's easy. But because it's yours. Because in a world of imitation, you chose authenticity. In a world of noise, you chose purpose. And in a world full of wandering, you chose to walk with intention, direction, and courage. So whatever your path is, whether it's building something, healing something, or simply becoming someone better, honor it. Protect it. Walk it fully and fiercely. You don't need a map. You just need a compass. And that compass, is your values. Let them guide you. And no matter what storms come your way, stay on your path. Because the path you're walking isn't just leading somewhere. It's making you. Let go of outcomes. We live in a world obsessed with results. Did you get the job? Did the relationship work out? Did your plan succeed? We measure worth by outcomes. We chase certainty. We cling to expectations. And when things don't go our way, we spiral. We blame. We suffer. But the Stoics, they had a different way. They taught us something radical. Something powerful. Something most people will never learn: do your best, then let go. Let go of the outcome. Let go of what's beyond your control. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. You can control your effort, your attitude, your integrity. But you can't control the weather. You can't control other people. You can't control how the world responds to you. And the more you try, the more life will teach you this one truth: clinging leads to suffering. Surrender leads to peace. Now, surrender doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean apathy. It means detachment. It means you do what's right not because of the reward, but because it's who you are. It means pouring your heart into something, then releasing the need for it to turn out a certain way. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. The Stoics called it apatheia, not emotional numbness, but inner stillness. Freedom from being ruled by outcomes. Because when you're ruled by outcomes, your peace becomes fragile. It's tied to success, approval, applause. It rises and falls with things you can't control. But when you let go, you take your power back. You find joy in the process. Satisfaction in the doing. Meaning in the act itself. Whether the world applauds you or not. Epictetus said it simply: seek not for events to happen as you wish, but wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will go smoothly. So, how do you practice this? You start by showing up fully. You give your best effort. You act with virtue. You speak with honesty. You live with intention. And then you let go. You trust. You accept. You adapt. Because peace doesn't come from controlling life. It comes from aligning with it. It comes from knowing you did your part and trusting that whatever happens is part of a greater unfolding. So next time something doesn't go your way, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, did I act with courage? With wisdom? With kindness? If the answer is yes, then let that be enough. Because your job is not to shape the outcome. Your job is to shape yourself. To live well. To choose virtue. To respond with strength. That's where your power lies. So let go. Let go of control. Let go of fear. Let go of needing things to be perfect. And in that letting go, you'll discover something beautiful: freedom, resilience, and peace, the kind no outcome can ever take away. You get what you are. What if the world around you was simply reflecting what's already inside you? What if the chaos, the negativity, the drama wasn't just out there, but also in here? That's not always easy to admit. But the Stoics knew something we often forget: you don't get what you want. You get what you are. Let that sink in. If you carry bitterness, you'll find reasons to be bitter. If you carry fear, you'll see threats everywhere. If you carry envy, you'll feel like life is unfair even when it's not. But if you carry peace, you'll notice the quiet beauty in things. If you carry gratitude, you'll see gifts where others see burdens. If you carry strength, you'll rise in the face of adversity. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, your internal state shapes how you interpret and respond to the world. So if you want better experiences, if you want better outcomes, If you want a better life, start not by changing the world, but by changing yourself. The Stoics weren't focused on controlling society. They focused on controlling their own character. They believed the foundation of happiness wasn't found in possessions or praise but in virtue. In who you are when no one's watching. So how do you live by this? Start by becoming deeply honest with yourself. Not harsh. Just honest. Ask, what do I carry into each day? Do I bring calm, or chaos? Do I bring kindness, or judgment? Do I bring purpose, or distraction? Because what you bring is what you get back. Life mirrors your mindset. It reflects your habits, your values, your emotional energy. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it." That's the work. Don't just talk about being kind, be kind. Don't just hope for peace, practice it, moment by moment. Don't just wish to grow, choose to grow, even when it's uncomfortable. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being conscious. Being aligned. And yes, you will falter. You will react. You will slip into fear or anger or doubt. But the difference is, you'll notice. You'll adjust. You'll return to your path. That's Stoicism in action. It's not about being flawless. It's about being committed to becoming a little more courageous, a little more composed, a little more honest, each day. And in time, you'll start to notice something beautiful. The world doesn't look as heavy. People don't trigger you as much. You stop waiting for peace because you've become the source of it. So remember this, if you want a life of meaning, be meaningful. If you want deep connection, be deeply present. If you want strength, cultivate it from within. Because the outer world will always reflect the inner one. You don't get what you demand. You get what you demonstrate. You get what you live. And when you live with virtue, with courage, with patience, with love, life begins to meet you there. Not because it owes you, but because you've finally become the kind of person who can see the good in it. And that changes everything. The obstacle is the way. What if the very thing you're trying to avoid is exactly what you need? What if the pain, the setback, the failure, the thing that brought you to your knees, wasn't blocking your path, but becoming it? The Stoics believed something most people never truly understand: the obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. It's not just a clever phrase. It's a call to transform, to rise, to reframe everything. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, whatever you're facing right now, whatever seems too big, too heavy, too painful, might be the very thing that builds your character, deepens your wisdom, and awakens your strength. But here's the hard part: we don't want the obstacle. We want the shortcut. The easy way out. The success without the struggle. But that's not how growth works. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Muscles don't grow without resistance. Wisdom doesn't grow without reflection. Character doesn't grow without trials. So when something hard enters your life, don't just ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What is this trying to teach me? What part of me is being asked to grow?" That shift in thinking changes everything. Suddenly, the failure becomes a teacher. The rejection becomes redirection. The loss becomes an invitation to rebuild stronger. It doesn't mean the pain disappears. The Stoics weren't naive. They didn't pretend life was easy. They simply believed that even pain can be purposeful. That even struggle can serve you if you let it. Because there's power in choosing to face the storm, not with resentment, but with resolve. There's power in saying, "This is hard, but I will not run. I will stay. I will learn. I will rise." That is Stoicism. Not cold. Not emotionless. But deeply courageous. It's looking at your greatest challenge and saying, this, too, is part of my path. So whatever your obstacle is, a failed relationship, a missed opportunity, a health issue, a crisis you didn't ask for, don't shrink from it. Stand in front of it and look deeper. Ask, what if this moment was here to shape me? What if this obstacle was the doorway to my highest self? Because often, it is. And the people who become the most grounded, the most powerful, the most free aren't the ones who avoided hardship. They're the ones who faced it, who used it, who grew through it. The obstacle isn't there to stop you. It's there to sculpt you, to reveal your courage, to stretch your limits, to teach you what ease never could. So next time life pushes back, don't curse it. Thank it. Step toward it. And whisper to yourself, this isn't the end. This is the beginning. This is not the wall. This is the way. Do what little you can. There are days when the weight of the world feels unbearable. The to-do list is endless. The problems feel too big. The future seems overwhelming. You freeze. You wonder, where do I even begin? What's the point of trying, if I can't fix it all? And in that moment of pressure, you forget something essential. You're not asked to do everything. You're asked to do what you can. The Stoics understood this. They didn't chase the impossible. They focused on the immediate, the tangible, the present moment. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, don't waste time thinking about what a good person should be. Just be one. Not tomorrow. Not someday. Now. Even if it's small. Especially if it's small. Because those small acts, those little things you think don't matter, are actually everything. They're how you build a life. They're how you change the world. Not through grand gestures, but through daily alignment. Every small step you take toward integrity, toward kindness, toward discipline matters. It compounds. Like drops of water shaping a rock. Like bricks forming a wall. Tiny actions. Relentlessly repeated. That's how transformation happens. But the modern world tricks you. It tells you that unless you go viral, unless you're famous, unless you're extraordinary, you're nothing. But the Stoics saw it differently. They believed greatness was not in the spotlight but in the unseen moments of effort. In showing up. In doing your part. In choosing virtue when no one's watching. So when the world feels too much, when your goals feel too far, when life knocks you down, don't try to fix it all at once. Just ask, what little thing can I do, right now, that aligns with who I want to become? Maybe it's choosing patience when you feel anger. Maybe it's writing one honest sentence on the page you've been avoiding. Maybe it's simply taking a breath instead of giving in to panic. That's enough. That's everything. Seneca wrote, while we wait for life, life passes. Stop waiting. Don't wait for clarity. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect time. Start now. Start where you are. Start with what little you can. Because even a small fire can light the dark. Even a small effort can begin the healing. Even a small act of courage can change your course. And here's the truth, you'll never feel ready. You'll never have it all figured out. But you don't need to. You just need to act. Tiny step. Clear intention. Consistent effort. That's the Stoic way. And in time, those small actions will reveal a life well lived. Not loud. Not flashy. But strong. Steady. And deeply fulfilling. So today, when things feel too much, pause. And whisper to yourself, just do what little you can. Then do it. And keep doing it. Because your greatness is built in the small. Redefine success. What does success mean to you? Is it money in your account? A title next to your name? Applause from the crowd? A list of achievements others admire? That's what the world tells us. That success is something external, visible, quantifiable, loud. But the Stoics, they saw success differently. To them, success wasn't about winning. It wasn't about status, luxury, or fame. It was about one thing: living in accordance with virtue. That's it. If you acted with courage, you succeeded. If you spoke with honesty, you succeeded. If you held your values when it was easier to abandon them, you won no matter what the outcome looked like. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Real success is freedom. The freedom to live by your own compass. To stay calm in the storm. To remain kind in a cruel world. To be unchanged by changing circumstances. And here's the paradox: the moment you let go of chasing success by the world's definition, you start to feel it deep, steady, lasting success. Because you're no longer performing. You're becoming. You're no longer proving. You're living. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in the world, wrote in his private journal, "It is possible to live well, even in a palace." He wasn't impressed by his status. He judged himself by one standard only: did I live today with integrity? Ask yourself that. Did I show up with presence? Did I act with patience? Did I speak truth, even when it was hard? If you did, you succeeded. Whether anyone clapped or not. This is the Stoic shift, from seeking results, to living by principles. From asking, "What did I get?" to asking, "Who did I become?" That's the kind of success no one can take from you. It doesn't rust. It doesn't fade. It doesn't depend on the market, the metrics, or the opinions of others. It's built from within. And here's what's beautiful: when you start living this way, you become someone others trust. Respect follows. Peace follows. Impact follows. Not because you chased them, but because you embodied something rare. Something real. So if you've been feeling like you're falling behind, if the world tells you you're not enough, pause. Turn inward. And ask, what does success mean to me? And is it mine, or someone else's definition I inherited? Let it go. Let go of the scoreboard. Let go of the comparison. Let go of the noise. And write your own definition. Maybe it sounds like this: success is showing up with heart. Speaking truth when it's inconvenient. Practicing restraint when anger flares. Loving deeply, even when it hurts. That is a good life. That is success the Stoics would be proud of. And most importantly, that's the kind of success you'll be proud of too. Don't live for likes. Be honest with yourself. How many times have you done something not because it was right, but because you thought it would make people like you? How often have you stayed silent when you wanted to speak up, or said yes when your whole body was saying no, just to be accepted? In today's world, it's easy to trade authenticity for approval. It's easy to confuse being liked with being worthy. But the Stoics would warn us: don't live for likes. Live for character. Live for truth. Epictetus said it simply: if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In other words, if you're going to grow, if you're going to stand for something, if you're going to live with integrity, you will be misunderstood. You will be disliked. You will make people uncomfortable. And that's okay. Because a Stoic doesn't need applause to know they're on the right path. They only need one thing: alignment with virtue. Let that be your guide. Not the opinions of strangers. Not the number of followers. Not the fear of rejection. Just virtue. That's where your power lies. Because the truth is, the more you live for validation, the more you abandon yourself. You bend. You shrink. You lose clarity. And little by little, you become a version of yourself that looks good on the outside, but feels empty on the inside. But when you start living by your own principles, when you choose honesty over popularity, discipline over indulgence, quiet purpose over loud approval, you stop needing permission. You stop chasing affirmation. You start leading your life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me, we all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Isn't that true? We know what matters to us. We know who we want to be. But one comment, one criticism, and suddenly we're off track. The Stoic way is different. It's not about arrogance. It's about clarity. It's about knowing, if I've done the right thing, if I've acted with reason and integrity, then I don't need anyone to clap for me. That kind of self-respect is rare. But it's real. And here's the paradox, the more you stop trying to be liked, the more people are drawn to you. Not because you're perfect, but because you're real. You're rooted. You're free. So how do you practice this? You start small. Next time you're about to say something just to fit in, pause. Next time you're about to post something just for attention, ask yourself, is this true to me? Next time someone disapproves of your path, breathe. Let them. You're not here to be everyone's favorite. You're here to live with truth. And if that costs you a few likes, so be it. Because in the end, the only like that truly matters, is the one you give yourself when your head hits the pillow at night. So don't live for likes. Live for depth. Live for truth. Live for the quiet peace of knowing you stayed true when it would have been easier to fold. That's the Stoic way. And that's the kind of life worth being proud of. Say no to say yes. You've been taught to be agreeable. To be polite. To say yes with a smile, even when your gut is screaming no. You don't want to disappoint anyone. You don't want to seem selfish. You don't want to be misunderstood. But here's the truth the Stoics knew and lived by, every yes you give is a no to something else. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your life saying yes to the wrong things, and no to your peace, your priorities, your path. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." It sounds simple. But it requires courage. The courage to pause. To reflect. To say, is this request aligned with my values? Is this use of my time worthy of who I want to become? If the answer is no, you must honor that. Even if it feels uncomfortable. Even if someone doesn't understand. Because saying no isn't rejection. It's direction. It's a way of protecting your limited energy so that you can give it to what truly matters. The Stoics believed in living according to nature, and part of that is recognizing your nature. You are not infinite. You have boundaries. You have limits. And if you don't set them consciously, life will set them for you. You'll burn out. You'll resent. You'll wake up one day and wonder where your life went. All because you didn't know how to say one sacred word, no. But here's the reframe, you're not just saying no, you're saying yes to something else. When you say no to overcommitting, you say yes to rest. When you say no to people pleasing, you say yes to integrity. When you say no to shallow distractions, you say yes to deep focus. That's powerful. That's Stoic. Seneca wrote, "No person has the power to have everything they want, but it is in their power not to want what they don't have." That means discipline. That means discernment. That means choosing what truly matters and letting go of what doesn't. So how do you practice this? Start small. Next time a request comes in, pause. Don't answer out of guilt. Don't answer out of fear. Answer from your values. Ask, does this serve the life I want to live? Is this true to who I am? If it's not, say no. Kindly. Clearly. Without apology. You don't owe everyone access to your time. You don't owe everyone a yes. You owe yourself a life of purpose, of clarity, of freedom. And that begins with knowing when to close the door. Because every time you say no to something misaligned, you say yes to your path, to your power, to your peace. That's not selfish. That's stoic. And it's one of the highest forms of self-respect. Let go with grace. There's a kind of strength we don't talk about enough. Not the strength to hold on, but the strength to let go. To release what no longer serves you. To stop clinging to what's outside your control. To loosen your grip not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. This is the final Stoic secret. And maybe, the hardest one of all, let go. With grace. Not with bitterness. Not with rage. Not with resentment. But with clarity. With calm. With acceptance. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." Life is always changing. People leave. Plans fail. Things end. And when we resist that truth, we suffer. We hold on to what was. To what we hoped would be. To a version of the world that no longer exists. But the Stoics remind us, everything is borrowed. Everything is temporary. And trying to control the uncontrollable is like trying to hold back the ocean with your hands. So how do we respond? With grace. We focus on what is within our power, our actions, our mindset, our response. And we let go of what's not. That doesn't mean we stop caring. It doesn't mean we give up. It means we release the illusion that our peace depends on the outcome. Epictetus said it clearly, some things are up to us, and some things are not. You are not in control of the past. Of other people. Of fate. But you are in control of your attitude. Your choices. Your heart. And that's enough. Because when you let go with grace, you create space. Space for peace. Space for healing. Space for what is truly meant for you. You stop forcing. You start flowing. You stop gripping the old, and you open your hands to the present. So what can you let go of today? A regret? A relationship that no longer aligns? A version of yourself that you've outgrown? Let it go. Not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more. Letting go is not giving up. It's growing up. It's choosing inner stillness over outer control. It's trusting that life doesn't need to go your way for you to be okay. Because you are okay. You are resilient. You are evolving. You are enough. So breathe. Release the tension in your chest. Unclench your hands. And whisper to yourself, I let go. With grace. With strength. With peace. That's not the end. That's the beginning. Because every time you let go of what you can't control, you return to what you can. Yourself. Your purpose. Your path. And that is where true freedom begins. The Stoics didn't aim to escape life. They faced it fully, fiercely, faithfully. If you want to do your best, don't wait for the perfect moment. Create it. Embrace discipline. Embody virtue. And show up, again and again. Not to prove. Not to impress. But to become. Thank you for walking this journey with me today. If you found value in this, subscribe. But more importantly, live it. The world needs your light. And your best. Still struggling to stay calm under pressure? Watch this next, 10 Stoic practices that will give you inner peace.